Hi, I'm Ashley Cook-Cox, and I just want to tell you a little bit about my field experience and what it taught me. I'll just start out by just talking about I worked with a second grade boy. I don't know if we're supposed to say their real names, but I called him Eli in my paper, so I'll just stick with that. Eli was 8 years old, and he was Samoan, so I got the opportunity to spend 10 hours with him in his classroom. He struggled a lot with his pace of learning and getting distracted. His teacher kind of let me know going into the experience that he's always really behind, like transitionally. So the class will move from doing like their writing exercise and they'll move over to the math board, and he'll stay at the English writing board for a while everyone else is at the math board, and then eventually he'll move over to the math board. So he's just a little bit slower with his processing, and he'll answer questions that had already been answered a few minutes earlier. So he knows the right answer to things. He's just slower in the process of answering it, which is fine. But I helped him with his math worksheets. So they had a lot of like half sheet math papers they had to do. So it was practicing using zeros. So adding 0, taking away a 0, just kind of them practicing, and then they move up from zeros to ones to twos and then so on. And so there was probably about like 10 worksheets that they had to do. And once the kids got done with one, they moved on to the next one and to the next one. And so me and Eli, I would tell him, right, let's get this first worksheet done. And so then he would do it, and I'm like, nice, go turn it in. We got one done. And then all of a sudden it became like a game or like a challenge to him. He's like, yes, we got another one done. To the point where we got all the worksheets done, and he had still had time to spare. And so for me, like with him specifically, I told him he could do it. Like I looked him in the eye and said, Eli, you can do this. Like, we are going to work on one worksheet at a time. We're going to move on to the next one, and you're totally capable of doing it. And so that really helps him. Like, I boosted up his self-efficacy of, oh, you're right, I can do it. I'm able to get these worksheets done. And he did. And all 3 days that I was there, he had the same amount of worksheets each day, and he blew right through them. And by the end of, I think it was the second day when we were working on them, he goes, this stuff is so easy. And I was like, perfect. Like, he understands because he can do it, and it's easy for him that he can challenge himself more. But a couple things that I talked about with him about his culture, I talked about music a lot with him because his mom is from Samoa and his dad is from Tonga, which is located by New Zealand. And music is a very vibrant part of their cultures. And so he said that he listened to music all the time at home, and he would always be singing, and it wouldn't necessarily be Samoan music. It would be like Americanized music, Bruno Mars, whatever. But he said at home they listened to a little bit of Samoan music, and they listened to a lot of American music. But for me, I told him that I didn't like music very much, and he thought it was the weirdest thing he's ever heard because it's such a big part of his life and obviously such a big part of his culture that he was like blown away by it. So that was kind of interesting to see how he reacted to that. But, like, since he is a kid and, he hasn't been to Samoa yet, he only hears, what his grandparents tell him, specifically his grandpa or his mom and dad. So we just kind of talked about things he wanted to talk about. He talked a lot about Pokemon Go. He talked a lot about dinosaurs and, like, shark attacks and stuff. So we kind of, he'd work on one math problem, look up at me, and then start talking about sharks, and then, like, go back down. I'm like, okay, whatever it takes to, have you get this done. And, But so then if I were working with kids, specifically like working with Eli, how would I make him succeed in school? I would spend a lot of time just one-on-one with him, just communicating like, hey Eli, this as a teacher, hey, this is what I need you to do. Like, can you work on this for me this week? And then next week we'll move on to something else. And so there's just constant communication between the student and the teacher, me and the student. And I think it would really benefit. That's what Eli's teacher does, and it, like, really helps him out. Like, he's able to ask the teacher any questions he has because he knows his teacher cares about him and is willing to answer questions, and he's not afraid to speak up if he has questions, concerns, and that's what I would do. But I would also add the point in of saying, because I'm not sure what if they speak Samoan at home, if they speak a lot of English at home, because he speaks English really well. It's just reading English is really hard for him, so I'm not sure if English is what he hears at home, and then if he hears it at home and he doesn't work on reading English that much. So his teacher believed that could be a possibility, but I'm not sure. So I would just try to influence, maybe taking some reading material home for him so he can understand to read better, and it'll also help him with his math and being able to help him with all different subjects. But I think the biggest thing for me to help Eli succeed was just to, like, hey, it's okay if you think slower. Like, I don't know how many different languages are going through your head at once. Like, it's okay if you work slower, you're getting the work done, and I know you can do it. Because I think pumping up the kids' self-efficacy, it goes such a long way, and it really helps them become successful. So, thank you.